we're going to be building a Gantt chart. Here we have an example with 5 different activities, and we've identified the duration of each activity and the day on which it starts. But we have to take care that there are some constraints that are in operation. For example, activity B starts when activity A ends, and activities C and D start when activity B ends, but they must not be split by a weekend. And finally, activity E starts when activity C ends. So using these constraints and the duration of each activity, we're now going to build a Gantt chart which will show us which activities are running on which day and how long the project consisting of these 5 activities will last overall. Here we have the Gantt chart already prepared. Notice how each day has been identified, whether it is a weekday, i.e. a working day, or shaded out if it is a weekend, i.e. Saturday or Sunday. All we need to do now is to shade in the activities on the different days that they are running. So we start with activity A. Activity A starts at time 0 and lasts 3 days. There, activity A has been put in orange so that we can see when activity A starts and that it runs for 3 days. Our next step is to put in activity B. Activity B starts on day 3 and lasts 5 days. So now what we need to do is to put in activity B. Activity B starts on day 3 and lasts 5 days, but that takes us over a weekend. So we need to make sure that it is 5 working days, not 5 days including Saturday and Sunday. So now we're going to put in activity B. So that's 2 days there and running through the weekend. So now we have activity B lasting 5 working days but running through the weekend. Because activity C and activity D want to start after activity B has finished, we think that we might be able to start on day 8, but we can't because the constraint is that they must not be split by a weekend. So activity C cannot start until after the weekend on day 10, and activity C lasts 4 working days. So we're now going to put activity C in. There we have activity C lasting 4 working days, and it starts the same time as activity D, but activity D lasts 5 working days. So we now put activity D in. So now we have our Gantt chart with activity A, activity B, activity C and activity D. We need one further activity to be included, and that is activity E. Activity E starts on day 14 because it is able to start as soon as activity C finishes. It does not need to wait for activity D to finish, and it can be split by a weekend. So we're now able to put the last activity, activity E, on our Gantt chart. It lasts 3 working days, but it runs through the weekend. We now have our final Gantt chart, and we can see that the first day after the project has finished is here, day 17. Now we have the complete Gantt chart showing the entire project, the length of each activity. We can see that on days 8 and 9 no activities are running because of the constraints regarding activities C and D. We can see that in the week beginning the 16th of July we have certain activities running in parallel, activity C and activity D, and also activity D and activity E. That is the entire Gantt chart constructed from the start day, duration and constraint information.